Well, actually, I didn't know I had 15 tackles. So, but it means a lot, you know. We're setting the standard. So, you know, for the rest of the years, you know, that's a standard that even the guys who come behind me are going to try to meet and reset. So, it's definitely an accomplishment.
You also had a fumble recovery and an interception in the end zone. Just what were you seeing from their offense that allowed you to have so much success today?
Oh, you know, I put a lot of credit on our coaches. You know, they put us in the right situation to be able to make them plays. You know, it was just reacting based off of what they were giving us and reading our keys, and we was just able to make plays off of that.
Blake, what would you say about the fact that this defense had 6 takeaways in a playoff game today? And I know it wasn't pretty all the time, but the defense made some huge plays to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, we felt like we needed to prove ourselves after what happened last week. I think we came out and, you know, our goal was to create turnovers and play with our hair on fire. And you saw a bunch of guys flying around trying to make plays, and, you know, the ball bounced our way more times than once. So it really worked out for us. It was a lot of fun.
Describe what it was like in the locker room after the game on the field, because you're doing something the program hasn't done yet.
Yeah, I mean, me and Tice were talking about it. We're playing for another week of practice right now. You know, we want to go get another 60 minutes of football played, because guys like us, you know, that might not have more future or have more football behind us than we do in our future, you know, it means a lot for us to keep playing. So the locker room was awesome. I mean, the guys were pumped up, and yeah, we're ready to go to Montana.
Yeah, it's huge. It's just another aspect of our offensive game that teams, have to stop. Obviously he had those 2 touchdowns in the first half and was doing really good things for us, so it was huge for us to have him back.
Felt like a big complimentary football game today between the giveaways on your side, which is totally uncharacteristic of the offense, but then the defense coming out and picking you guys up and getting those big ones, especially down the stretch.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Obviously I take a lot of responsibility for not taking care of the ball great today, but that's why we have one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the country, because we hit some adversity, and when they needed to step up, they stepped up huge for us. And kudos to them, great job. Offensively though, I think when we needed it, we made plays just like we usually do, but obviously some things to clean up next week.
For any of you, have you been involved in a game, at least at the college level, that was this crazy, that had this many turnovers and wacky plays? What was that like out there?
I mean, it was a good feeling on defense, creating them turnovers. You know, it was just like, I don't know, it just creates so much excitement, momentum. That's the biggest thing. Momentum. When you create a turnover, it gives us more momentum, and we were able to do that multiple times throughout the game. So.
Yeah, and kind of backing off that, we know we want our offense to go be explosive and stuff, and for Bauman and those guys to go take risks, that just shows that they trust us to go out and execute the defense. And so we were telling the offense just keep doing their thing, and we knew they were going to put up points. So, yeah, it was awesome.
And even after the second time you guys turned it over inside the 10-yard line, that's got to be a tough pill to swallow. What kind of things were said? How did that not happen again?
It's just always next play. Whether it's a 80-yard touchdown or, like you said, a turnover inside the 5. It's just next play mentality, and that's what we had to do. And again, luckily our defense stepped up and got a big stop for us, and we weren't putting points on the board, and that's all we can do in that situation.
Travis, what was the mindset in that drive after Davis cut it to 28-21? You guys get the ball knowing you need to work as much clock as you can and hopefully end with points.
Take the life out of them, go score, make it a 2-possession game again, just death march.
That's what it was.
Travis, what was it like, I think maybe any of the seniors too, but maybe the last guys in the last room, but singing the fight song the final time, knowing this was going to be the final home game, but you go win next week, you'll be seeing a lot of friends down in Frisco if you get one more win.
Yeah, it was fun. Like Blake said, I mean, we're just fighting for another week to hang out at this point, so it's pretty cool.
Aiden, why do you think this particular Coyote team was the team to do something different to get this far?
A lot of experience all around. A lot of young guys have stepped up huge this year. But I don't think I've ever been a part of a team that has this much grit and determination when adversity hits. The last 4 weeks now, we've been in tight games, and come the end of the game, it's when we lock in and we step up. Obviously today we were subpar on offense, but at the end of the game we stepped up and hit those 2 touchdowns at the end to put the game away. So I think our grit is really what's the difference this year for us.
For anybody, seemed like there was a lot of chatter, a lot of noise, kind of some trash talking coming into this game. Does that get to the locker room? Do you guys hear that? And do you just ignore it then?
We really don't know what you're talking about.
You won a different kind of game last week with Tarleton and that slow mesh, and then obviously this week was kind of wild with all the turnovers and everything. Certainly Montana State's going to present a different kind of game next week with the way they like to run with Malott. How much do these last 2 games kind of give you confidence that you can kind of face down whatever you're going to see, and especially going into a unique environment that you've never been in like Bozeman?
Yeah, we're excited to take that opportunity. They got a really good squad over there. I know a bunch of us guys were able to watch that game last night. They have a really good offense, they have a really good defense, and it's going to be a challenge, but we're going to put in the work this week and figure it out.
What a great win. What a great win for our program. What a great win for a tremendous group of young men. First of all, I want to give my compliments to UC Davis. That's a really well-coached football team, really skilled football team, and we beat a really good football team today. Certainly a lot different. I think I talked about this last week that playoff games don't very often go the way you think they're going to go. This one certainly didn't. Defensively, did a great job we bent a little bit, but forced a bunch of turnovers, generated some really good ball possession for our offense, and offensively, even though we squandered a couple of scoring opportunities there, which is atypical of us, I thought our offensive football team showed a lot of character. That was a tremendous drive there in the fourth quarter after they got the game back to 2-1 score at 28-21, and super well executed, played with a great deal of confidence, and a great way to close the game out.
How do you characterize something like that, the way it went down with the turnovers? It's, as you said, you guys, that's something you don't do.
Yeah.
Your defense has had more turnovers in the last 2 weeks than they had the entire regular season. So it was just wild swings of momentum there.
Yeah, I think, there's 2 things today. Number one, their quarterback hadn't thrown a lot of interceptions. I think we made him uncomfortable in the pocket at times, which forced him to throw the football and force the football into places that our guys were able to make some interceptions. And then we got our hands on a couple of balls and tipped a couple of balls up. You don't often get an interception by a defensive tackle, but those are the kind of plays that football teams that are playing hard make once in a while. And like I say, if there was one disappointing thing, it's the fact that we turned the ball over in the red, not just in the red zone, inside the 5-yard line twice, and maybe could have made that game a little bit easier by putting points on the board in those 2 possessions. But just like last week, when things didn't go well, for us defensively in the first half, offense responded, and when we had a couple of things offensively this week that could have been huge momentum swings, defense found ways to get the ball back.
You mentioned the red zone ones in particular. Those normally are very deflating, the types of turnovers that ultimately lose you games. So how did you guys recover from those specifically?
Yeah, the one right before half, we were in a position there to at least get a field goal, would have given us a lot of momentum going into half. We turned the ball over and, just go into half and basically told the guys, hey, it doesn't make any difference. We're still 7 points ahead. We're going to have to win the second half, whether we had that field goal on the board or not. And then, when it happened the second time there, when we fumbled there deep in their territory, defensively had to make a response, and our guys just keep battling. I think that's one thing that this team has proven here in some of the tight games that we've had here over the last week of the regular season and these first two playoff games, that our team's just going to keep believing and keep fighting and keep playing hard, and now we've got ourselves in the national semifinals, and games are going to be like that again this week.
You mentioned the grit specifically of this group. I mean, is that the same word you would use, or do you have a different one?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could say grit. I just think it's a team that has they've got a level of confidence. We've talked from the very beginning of this year that this team's goal, this team's mission was to win a championship, and the conference championship, we were able to find a way to win that, and we immediately set course on this next opportunity, and said it was going to take 4 weeks and 4 wins, and we've got 2 of those under our belt, and now we got to go to go out of the dome and find a way to win on the road.
Maybe you partly answered this question already with what you were just saying, but 2 years ago you're walking out of here 3-8, a blowout loss to end the season, and even last year in this same round, a 4-touchdown loss. How have things so dramatically turned around in this program for the last 2 years, even the results of last year?
Yeah, and I told people, I don't even think about it much anymore. 22 was a blip on the radar. I mean, that was not us. That was not the direction, the trajectory that our program was headed. It was just a year where a bunch of things went the wrong way, and was hard for us to recover. But I was really confident, that we had a chance to be a better football team in 23. They set their sights, they did that, and just like this group, when we lost to North Dakota State a year ago, there wasn't any celebration about, hey, we made it to the national quarterfinals. It was, how do we get to the summit? How do we get to the very top? And what do we have to do to be a team that can compete in that way? And those are the things that we've worked on over the spring and the off season and the summer and all through the fall, and now we've still got a lot of work to go ahead of us, but we're in a place where all those goals are still in front of us.
And you've seen the summit with 2 national titles in another place, but maybe considering 2 years ago and considering the last 9 years at USD, for you, how emotional, this is the furthest USD has ever gone in Division I. How emotional and meaningful of a win is it just for you?
Well, I'm excited for our guys. We got a great group, and I've always felt my role as a coach is to, help, number one, be an influence in their lives, and number 2, help them realize their goals. And we've got a great staff here that works really hard every week to put together great game plans in all 3 phases of the game. And we've got a group of guys that are firmly bought in and believe in each other and play for each other. I think you talk to any of our guys, you get that sense. Does it remind me of the teams that we had at Duluth that were able to win national championships? In a lot of ways it does, because we've got that kind of strong leadership and character in our football team.
Gary Bryant, 15 tackles, home recovery, interception in the end zone. Just how important was he today for the defensive success?
Well, he's played really well all year, and defensively we've been a team that's been really consistent, and early in the year the linebacker positions were the ones that everybody questioned because we didn't have the same level of experience there as we had up front and in the secondary, and we knew we had a really good player in Gary Bryant that could take a major step forward there from both a playing time standpoint and a leadership standpoint.
He's taken advantage of every opportunity and done just that.
JJ, first game back in nearly 2 months, he steps right in like he never left. Just how good was it to see him back out there and have a big game?
Yeah, it was really good to get him back out. He probably was playing at, I'd say 80, 85%. I think he'll be really close to being 100% by next week. Part of that is just getting him back and getting him some confidence. But to have him at that tight end position to be able to utilize in the passing game gives us another threat offensively and a guy that will continue to build our game plan around moving forward.
The offensive line kind of had to use a few substitutions today because of a few minor injuries, but they were consistent all day, really good, dominant in the trenches. Just how impressed were you with that?
I thought they did a really good job protecting the quarterback today, and we did. We had to play a couple of, backups there as we had some injuries. Those guys came in, did a good job. Playoff runs are going to test your depth for sure. You're not going to be able to keep everybody healthy every week, and so to get those guys some meaningful repetitions in a critical game like that is going to help us as we go down the road. They did a good job against the run. I mean, they were making it really hard for us to run the football. We were going to have to open that up and make some plays through the air, and I thought, that last drive was really good balance of running the football and throwing the football in combination to get us back to that 2-score lead.
Coach, you mentioned making their quarterback uncomfortable, made him throw 52 times. How well did that align with your defensive scheme for today?
Well, the big thing is that we always start with defensively is don't let teams run the football. And, they came in with a running back that, had 1,400-plus yards rushing. Obviously got dinged up today and wasn't able to continue for them. But I thought that was first and foremost what our defense did best today is they were able to stop the run. And that and the combination of us leading really forced them to have to throw the ball on every down, which is not necessarily what they want to do. And we were able to get, even though we didn't get a lot of sacks, I thought we got really consistent pressure on the quarterback and got some hurries that a couple of those interceptions were directly affected by the fact that we got people in his face in the pocket.
Obviously, Montana State, put on quite a show last night. Early impressions of the matchup and some of the things they do well.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the game last night. It's one of the advantages, and now the disadvantages is they've had a full day of rest and preparation on us. But they're a very good football team. They're extremely well coached. They've got a tremendous quarterback. Their style is a lot different than UC Davis's. They're going to come at you running the football, using that quarterback as a running threat. At the same time, you have to account for him throwing the football. Defensively, they're a very good football team too, and so it's going to be a game where. Like today's game, where every possession is going to make a difference, we're going to have to find ways to move the ball with some consistency and try to, keep it in our hands instead of theirs.
Bob, you talked about taking this on the road, and I have to think with the things you're doing well right now, you got to have a lot of confidence with the defense, the running game. Those things tend to work in road games, and I imagine there's some confidence in the way you're playing right now.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things, and I think you could see it in the games today. Teams that can run the football and play good defense are teams that have a chance to make a run in December. And, we've improved in both of those areas. And obviously facing a tremendous opponent out in Montana State. But I know our guys are going to give it everything they have this week. We'll have a great week of preparation and look forward to the opportunity out there.
How does Aiden Bauman, more often than not, big games like this, always seem to make the big plays? What do you see day in, day out the last couple of years?
Yeah. Aiden plays with a lot of confidence. He does not get rattled. He's he is who he is. He's steady. He's consistent. He absorbs information, and there's nobody on our football team that felt worse, and in terms of turning the ball over in the red zone. Even though I don't know if either of those were really his fault, but he takes a lot of pride in what he does from a leadership standpoint for our offense. And I mean, he's checking a lot of plays. He's doing things that a lot of people don't recognize that's making our offense effective right now.